1985, a 10-year-old boy does his first sale. Unknowingly, he doesn't realize that it was his first sale. All he did was fulfill the need, want, and requirement of someone. Fast forward to 1996. This young boy is now a young man, graduates, and is looking for his first job. And in his search for his job, his first job was sales. On his first day, he goes to the company, but within half an hour, he leaves the actual job, the company. Why? Because he found the organization, the sales culture, the people's attitude to be very unethical. There was no connection with human development, sustainability, respect, or wisdom. And as sales profession, this is extremely important for us. It is not just about the transaction. Now, 2011, this man starts his own business. And he dreads the fact he's going to start his own business because now he needs to sell. He needs to sell and he hates selling. And many people who go into the sales profession actually have a fear of selling. And depending on who's coached them, mentored them, or taught them, they have different ways of selling. Now, this particular man, from 2011 onwards, he had a journey. And his journey was across the globe. And he discovered many, many things about the sales profession. And his foundations all started off, as far as sales is concerned, is to begin with the UK, to be specific, London. His travels further looked at going into India. And then, as he was based over here, a lot of his learning was from this place. As we know, it's Dubai. Over the years, he traveled more. And in those years, he went to the Far East. And in the Far East, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, he learned other things regarding the sales profession. He is a learner about sales. And in his adventure on learning about sales, he discovered many things. That particular individual is me. When I started my career many years ago, and my first experience of sales was a terrible one, I did not want to go into sales. I had decided a long time ago I'm going to be behind a computer and be someone who does IT. But things change. And as things change, we as humans need to transform ourselves. And that transformation got me into the sales field. Yes, I stand on stages, I do talks, I do workshops, I do training, but sales is a great element in what I do. Without doing a sale, people are not going to take on my services. And more than a sales, I let people buy from me. That's what my focus tends to be. Now, in my journey on what I call the sales journey, and as you saw, I call this session True Colors, Your True Colors, Soul of Sales. This is what I have discovered. I've discovered three main types of salespeople. Three main sales type of people. These being the one what I define as the clown. Why do I call this person a clown? They look at everything from a very jolly perspective. Nothing wrong with it. Even if it's the worst product or service, they'll sell it, showing all the great things about that product, not telling the client, the customer, that they need to be aware of certain things about that product or service. So hiding the information. So it's all about being jolly about how they do their sales. The second is the miserable salesperson. This particular salesperson is all about doom and gloom. When I say doom and gloom, their focus of selling is, how do I make the other person feel really bad so that I can sell them whatever I need to sell them? It's all about the sales. So even with the person who's the clown, even with the person who's the miserable salesperson, it's all about the transaction. And finally, this is probably the most dangerous one, and it's very difficult to find these ones, or actually realize you're dealing with one of these, is the psychopath salesperson. He or she will do anything, hook or crook, to get the sale. They don't care about the other person. They don't care about the client. All they care is solely, I need to get the deal, and that's it, nothing else. Now, I've seen this across multiple industries. It's not just in the hospitality, in the tourism, in the travel industry, but I've seen it in IT, I've seen it in finance, I've seen it all across. And in my adventure, I've discovered there is one salesperson which does exist. And that salesperson ensures you as a client is not left hanging around. The clown, the miserable, and the psychopath salesperson, they have no care for the client. They leave them in such a position that the client doesn't know what to do. If they let go, they'll fall, and whatever they're holding on to, it's not that strong. It makes their life miserable. They have no clue what to do. And this is where this particular salesperson comes in, who looks at integrating between the brain and the heart. It's about the integration of the brain and the heart. Their focus is very, very simple: to help the client, to find a solution for them. And if it means they are unable to provide that service or product, they will suggest someone else to them rather than just, I need a sales, I need a transaction. So we've got the clown, we've got the miserable, and the psychopath. So if you look at all of these, they focus their sales from a fair perspective, while the one who uses his heart and the brain, integration of both, their focus tends to be compassion, assertiveness, mindfulness. That's what their focus tends to be. Now, let's look at this a bit deeper into this, deep dive into this. One of the first things this person does is, rather than looking at, I need to do a sale, they look at the client and see what are the challenges, issues, problems are their clients facing. That's what they focus on. It's not about them, it's about the client. So here's a request from all of you over here. Some of you are not sitting next to anyone. This is what I would like you to do. Find someone around you, maybe behind you, next to you, and have a short discussion on what challenges, issues, problems are your clients facing. Please, if you could do that, I request that. Please, someone at the back of you, side of you, please. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Thank you. Go ahead, talk to each other. It's time to network and know each other. If someone's lonely over there, please talk to them. If there's someone in front of you who's not talking to anyone, get them to join your discussion, please. Dave, could I have the... So my beautiful assistant over here, Dave, is going to go around, and I just want some volunteers to let the rest of this team know over here what are the challenges, problem, issues your clients are facing. If you could go, Dave, if anyone could volunteer, please. So we've got one over here, the lovely lady over here. Please.
Hey. You want me to tell you, right?
Please, go for it.
Okay. Since I run a travel office, and then we also assist in processing the visa assistance process, we start with the visa process down to the clients traveling at the end of the day, and even at that country they are until they return back to their various country. One of the issues my clients do face, one is visa refusal sometime, one. Then number two, at the end of the day, after assisting them with the documentation profile and co, they tend to have an issue at the embassy, embassy's discretion at the end of the day. Then the second issue is when they are about to go on board. They have that issues also to probably because they meet different people and they meet different attendees. So they also have issues when they get to that country sometimes, and probably with the food, different country with different foods because we already understand those issues, what we do before they go is because we try to let them understand sometimes you might have this issue. We already have a solution to that effect already. So they know. Especially for the visa areas, so they also know that. So we kind of prepare them ahead those areas of issues. So sometimes when they get there, it doesn't sound new to them, but they just find a solution on their own too. Because at the end of the day, they are the one there. Okay. We are not there with them.
So quite a number of challenges, issues happening over there. Let's go on this side of the room. Anyone would like to let the rest of the group know?
Especially in the travel industry, as a traveler, the main challenges, issues they are facing is as she said, the visa requirements and the government formalities and the law and order of the place where they travel. And the other part, there are so many things people can review before they go. But the reality is until they go and experience, that is the time the real thing happens. For example, if someone comes first time to Dubai, there are millions of ways to find out what is Dubai is. Until you come land here, then you finally really find what is the truth is. And another thing, nowadays there are a lot of spams in the market. There are a lot of different views. The people, due to the mass online thing, there are a lot of good and bad things are there which to believe. There is another challenge, which is to be believed, which is truth. This is another challenge as clients whom we are facing.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we have just one more, Dave, please? We've got one person right over there, or whichever. You have a selection. He's going to go there. Next one is yours.
Talking about spam, I'm still waiting for $200 billion apparently I got for a prince in Kenya. Nothing's arrived yet.
Hello, everyone. I was talking to my friend here, and she explained the challenges that they face in their business is more to do with the internet connectivity. So they're not able to, communicate in time. The internet is slow. Sometimes the lines are not, up to the mark where they can communicate. So one is the communication. Another is a very, very high level of expectations. the expectation from the staff is that they can really make a Eiffel Tower out of nothing. So it's a high expectation mainly, which becomes like a challenge sometimes because they can only do what they can do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Now, when you look at this compassionate sales individual, there is a couple of things which they look at, and this is when they're looking at the challenge. In everything which you do, when you're resolving these challenges, issues, and why a client connects with you, yes, there is this pricing factor which affects the sales transaction. There is no question about it. That's very, very physical, you can see that. But there are other hidden things which are happening with your clients. And the first thing is, does the client trust you? Does the client trust you that you will be able to fulfill their needs, their requirements, their wants? And trust can be felt. Agreed? The second thing is, will you be able to resolve, find a solution for your clients in whatever situation they are? Or do you have the capability to do that? So the resolve being the credibility. Do you have the credibility to resolve the challenges, the issues, the problems your client might be facing? Are you able to give them a solution? And the third thing is, you've done the sale, you've resolved the issues, are you able to support them? Are you able to give them the support during their travel? Is that possible, or do you have a network which can assist you? And this all boils down to one key word. Can you give them value? Yes, people look at pricing. I'm not going to deny that pricing is there. But there are other factors we tend to forget, and we tend to focus just on the pricing. I'll give you an example for myself personally when I travel. A number of times I use online methods, and on certain occasions I will go to my travel agent, because I feel for those particular trips he will give me the value, not in terms of the price, but in terms of resolve and support. And I trust that he will get me out into any difficult situations when I'm in that particular place. So most people focus on value just being the price, but if you look at it, the intangibles which people tend to forget are trust, resolve, and support. Now, let's look at sales a bit more deeper. When we look at sales, people often talk about USP. What is USP? Unique selling point, unique selling proposition. Then some people have something called FAB, features, advantages, and benefits. As a person who is a sales profession, there is one thing which you need to be aware is what the Marketing Guild in the UK came up with was UPB. UPB, meaning unique perceived benefit. What does your client sees as a benefit they get from you? Not your USP, but you need to ask your clients, why did you select me? Why did you become a customer with me? And that is the unique perceived benefit. And every client you deal with will have a variation in that unique perceived benefit. And you need to be more aware of it so you can work on this value part that you're giving to your clients. Now, next, what do you see over here? Vase, okay, two faces, great, excellent. Could you read this for me, please? So we all were able to read it. Isn't that amazing? Yeah? Now let's look at the next thing. Here's what we do in this one. You have to say the color you see, not the word. Okay? So let's try the first one. I want to hear it loud. Excellent. Next one. Next one. Okay. Remember, you have to say the colors you see, not the word. Are we ready? Next one. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, now something is happening over here. So, Dave, could I have the mic, please, 1 minute? Yeah. Who was finding it difficult or find it a bit like oh, I need to stop and think about it? Who was finding that challenge? Okay, so what was happening? What were you doing?
Okay, I have the words registered on my mind, so as soon as I see the words, I don't wait to see the color, I just pronounce the words.
Okay, so it was just focusing on the words. Anyone else who was having a bit of a conflict on this side? Okay, let's see.
The same thing. I was first, my mind registered the words, and then I saw the colors. So that was a problem.
Okay, great. Now, as I was listening and observing the audience, there was one particular individual who was very good with what I told, which I'd requested you to do. And it was this wonderful individual over here. So, how did you find the exercise?
I just looked at the square boxes. So you just switch your mind off to what it's actually saying and concentrate on the task in hand.
Okay, so completely different way to do it. There's a reason behind that. And the reason is very simple. The reason is which part of the brain which is more dominant for you. If you are right brain, you tend to get a bit confused and muddled up. Nothing wrong with it. If you are left brain, more focused, predominantly left, you tend to do it much quicker because it's a task, it's a procedure which needs to be done. For the right brain people, it's like, whoa, it's too much is happening over here. While for the left brain, I can do this. I've been told I need to look at this specific thing, and that's what I need to do. Now, this all relates to how you deal with your clients as far as sales is concerned. What happens is we get into a state of confusion when we're dealing with our clients because they might work in a certain way and you work in a certain way. And it's all got to do with how your brain is operating. I'm not talking about personalities over here or behavior, but I'm talking about the brain operation, which is much deeper than just personality and behavior. Question for everyone. Are we ready? Yeah? Does everyone in this room have a brain? Yeah? I trust it's a human brain. If you're an alien, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being over here. This is an average human brain. This is how it tends to look. You know, nicely cleaned up without the blood and the goo. And the brain is used for three main things. And that is thinking, memory, your instincts and habits. Your thoughts, taking out your memories, and there's certain instincts we have, and there's certain habits we do. All of us in this room do all these three things, and the brain helps us in doing this. And this starts affecting in the way we interact with our clients, in the way we do our sales. Now let's look at it. Neuroscience, I'm talking about applied neuroscience. We're not talking about theoretical neuroscience. We're talking about applied neuroscience. They've discovered in very simple ways, there are 4 types of brains, or 4 types in which people operate. We all operate in these 4 ways, but there is always that 1 or maybe 2 predominating, dominating part of your brain which operates much more quicker, faster. This is how you like to operate. This is how you like to deal with people. This is how I like to deal with my clients. And in simple words, as a salesperson, as a sales profession, you need to be working in terms of facts, reasoning. You need to be working in terms of details and specifics. You need to work in terms of ideas and being spontaneous. And you need to be working on the emotions and the feelings. Now, if we look at facts, reasoning, specifics, or details, they tend to be left brain people, if that's what's domineering in you. And so when you deal with your people, it's all in that way. While the right side, they work in terms of ideas, feelings, relationship, connections. We all have the ability to do all 4 of them. It's not that we can't do it. We all do all 4 of them, but 1 or 2 tend to be more dominating than the others. In some cases, some people are very good at all 4 of them because they've developed it through time. It's not that I'm this and that's it. No, you have the ability to do all 4. You have a preference. In some cases, people can do all 4 quite quickly. So let's look at this in a bit more detail. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. When buying, when someone is buying, okay, what happens? So this is what I want you to do. Again, could you talk to someone around you? The person next to you, the person behind you, could you connect with them? First, could you do that connection, please? Say hello. How are you? Nice to meet you. I'm here at ATM to network as well. Yeah, excellent. Here's the question. I want you to look at all these 4 things: reasoning, specifics, spontaneous, and feeling. And I'll give you a couple of minutes. I want you to talk with each other. When someone is buying from a reasoning perspective, how will they buy? When someone is buying from a specific perspective, how will they buy? What will they do? When someone is doing it from a feeling perspective, how will they buy? And when someone is dealing from a spontaneous perspective, how will they buy? What will they look at when they're buying? So if you could talk amongst yourself and do that for me, please. Thank you. Please, if there's someone lonely, not talking, get them to join you. Get them to join you, please. Give you 1 more minute. No pressure. Thirty seconds left. Okay. And time is up. Here we go. So let's look at this. Someone in over here could tell me how a reasoning person would buy. What would they look at? Anyone? Volunteers? Okay.
I was just talking about clothing. It's, I guess, a girl's thing. So in terms of reasoning, we were saying if a dress is like 1,000 dirhams, my reasoning would be I will wear it 5-6 times, and then that's 200 dirhams. And so you're reasoning so that even though it's like expensive, but you want to make sure like I'll wear it over and over, so it justifies that. The reason.
So I'm going to wear it over and over, justifying that 1,000, 2,000 dirham worth price.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Now, which is very true. This is what's happening with the reasoning person. They're looking at the functionality. Is it cost effective for them? And is it practical? Is there practicality to them? So she's just done a calculation. This is this much worth. Is it worth it over time for, and will I do it? Simple as that. That's what happens when a client comes and sees you as well. They're going to look at the reasoning, the practicality, the logic. Is this worth buying from you? Let's look at the next one. Feelings. Who wants to talk about feelings? How a person who is feeling would likely to buy? Okay, I'm going to go right at the back. Here you are.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't think at all. I just love the item and I buy it.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And what happens?
I feel happy.
Feel happy. Oh, this is good. So it's all about the happy. So here in the travel industry, in the hospitality industry, they talk about the experience, the journey. These are the guys they're really talking about. Is building that relationship. Is it fun? Will I enjoy it? Is it a experience? Now you're dealing with these type of people as well. Okay, let's look at the next one, which is spontaneous, I believe. Who wants to look at spontaneous for me? Anyone? Spontaneous? Okay, go for it.
Spontaneous, I could just apprehend like that. If suppose it means more in a reference selling, where a guy is, suppose has to be one of the properties or hotels in here, he simply suggests, now the guy simply says that, okay, I want this only. So the decision is very straightforward. So this becomes a spontaneous.
Very to the point that this is it, that's all, and that's absolutely right. They tend to be drivers. It's like, this is what I want. I don't want any other person to make my decisions. I'm just going to do it. Very, very true. So they're looking at simple fact is, it's my idea. I've come up with it. I'm driving the whole thing. So when the iPhone was initially released, many people went for it because of the innovation, the uniqueness behind it. So for some people, it was a very spontaneous decision without even realizing from a logic perspective, is it actually going to be that great a phone? I mean, they're saying it's great specs, but is it really going to be? So the logical person, the practical person is there. I'll wait. Let me see. I will wait. Let's look at the last one, specific. What would be a specific person looking at? Who wants to give me? Shah. Okay, over here.
A specific buyer is in a box. This is what I want. I want the detail. This is it.
Okay, excellent. So absolutely right. It's all about giving me the details, the very, very core details which is required. And they're looking at reliability, safety. Is it established? So these are the types of buyers you're dealing with. And you are one of these buyers as well. This is how you think. The type of buyer you are, you tend to actually sell in that way as well. So you have to take a seat back and say, hold on 1 minute, I'm in sales. As a sales professional, adaptability, flexibility, and versatility is extremely crucial because I need to understand my client much better. And that's what will help me. And this is where you need to remember, when you're dealing with your clients, you need to look at what I call Trinity of I. Are you just informing them? Are you influencing them? Or are you inspiring them? Depending on the client you're dealing with, you will fall into. So if you're looking at someone who's very specific and logic, they're more on the information part of it. But when you're looking at someone who's spontaneous, someone's into the feeling, it's about the influencing and the inspiring. How do I change my messaging or adapt my messaging depending on the client? The other thing you need to be aware of is less is more. When I say less is more is you need to be very clear with what your message is going to be. Now, you can be extremely detailed, and you will lose your client. On the other hand, you can be extremely abstract and you will lose the client. Therefore, looking at these 4 types of buyer, you need to decide what is the right information you need to give to that buyer. So just right for that specific type of buyer. So you need to remember, you need to be concise, be relevant to the type of buyer you're dealing with, and create curiosity. What is, that excites them. Next thing, communication is a key thing when you're looking at all your buyers. So here's the next exercise with your team which you've decided to work with, or you can work with someone else. I want you to discuss with yourself, between your teams, how would a person who's a reasoning buyer will communicate? How would a specific buyer communicate? How would a spontaneous buyer communicate? And how would a feeling buyer communicate? Please, if you could do that, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Remember, talk to each other. It's a good time to network. Give you 30 more seconds. Here we go. Okay. Reasoning. Who wants to talk about the reasoning person who communicates?
So we were just saying in regard to reasoning and communications that it's going to be an open conversation. So it's very transparent. They might have a question that they don't know the answer. They're quite honest with the person, but they'll go on a fact-finding mission to find the information. So it's very open communication channels.
Okay. So absolutely right. Facts, illustrate the points. Tell me all the practicality. Okay. Present the information in terms of in a friendly way. Like he said, be open with me. Let's look at the next one, feelings. Who wants to do feelings? Oh, she likes the feelings. Okay. I think this line likes feelings. I can see that. Go for it.
For the feelings, okay, let me put it in the aspect of relationship and on vows day. Okay, the client might come in. Okay, this I want this flower, a very lovely flower, a live flower. This flower must have this color. This. My husband likes this color. Blah blah blah. This person has brought the feelings to you, or probably a couple who needs to settle down. I want this to be here. Blah blah blah. He likes this. He likes that. So you, the seller, has to put yourself in the position of the customer itself and act like the customer itself. Like, okay, this is what she wants, and when whatever you need to get for such person, you have to remember, my husband loves this color and all those things.
Okay, excellent. So it's all about the emotions, what's happening. So you have to start illustrating with those clients in terms of feeling. I feel this would be a good option for you. I feel if you were to take this visa, I feel this accommodation would better suit to your family requirements. Let's look at the spontaneous. Who wants to talk about spontaneous over here? Okay.
I think spontaneous people are thrill seekers in general, and I am one of them, so I don't want to speak a lot about something. I just go ahead and try out something new. So they don't like to speak, they like to do it right away. And I think you achieve a lot of things by being spontaneous. You lead by being spontaneous.
Absolutely. So with this, like said, get to the point. Stop, I don't want any distractions. This is all I need. Go for it. If you start giving them too many options, they will get lost. They will get lost. So when you're dealing with them, you have to have the energy, the drive. If they can't see that in you, you've got a challenge dealing with these people. Let's look at the last one, specific. Who wants to talk about specific? Okay, over there, finally, yes. He gets the mic.
The specific buyers would be like more assertive than their tones. Like they will go to the extent saying that I need Raffles Hotel, these dates, these room type, it should face the sea. That's
Absolutely.
it. So they'll be not leaving much of options for us. It's much easier to be dealing with the specific guys. Like if you try anything else with them, they will just choose the other seller. That's it.
Very true. So you need to give them the details. Is there safety? What's the plan? What's the process? They expect that you listen to them. They like to be in control. This is what I want. This is how I want it. Can you do it for me? And give me details. He's laughing. Now, these are the 4 types of people you have to communicate with. And as sales individuals, you need to be remembering, you need to be adaptable. You need to be flexible and versatile in the way you deal with your clients. Just because you might be a feeling buyer doesn't mean your client's a feeling buyer. Just because you're a spontaneous buyer doesn't mean your client's a spontaneous buyer. So you have to be aware of what's happening and what is the communication method you're going to use with them. Now, doesn't matter where you go in the globe, you can apply this anywhere. You first need to observe the people and understand what's going over there. It doesn't matter if you're in the Far East, in the Western world, or in the Middle East, you will get these 4 types of buyers. And it's up to you, your responsibility to realize what type of buyer I'm dealing with. And here's the thing, you learn all by trial and error. It's not going to be in a book or in a workshop. Yes, those things 100% help you to what to look out for. But it's in the actual implementation of this where you learn, this is the type of buyer I'm dealing with. And this is where, when I spoke about earlier about value, the value is that heart part, the trust, the resolve, the support, which you need to give the client. On the other side, you need to understand how your client operates, the brain. So both of them need to be integrated. When you start integrating both of them, you become compassionate in your sales, you become assertive, not aggressive. You become assertive and there's mindfulness in your sales. In this manner, you are actually assisting and helping your client finding what they require from you. What is their need? You can fulfill their need. And as salespeople, it's very important for us to be aware that being a clown salesperson, being a miserable salesperson, or a psychopath salesperson, they all work. But the end result tends to be your client feels left in the lurch, feels they are being cheated. And that's why salespeople have this stigma on them. Salespeople are liars. They're scum of the earth, only there to make quick money. But that's not true. Salespeople, which I have met through my journey, are compassionate, are assertive, are mindfulness, have the mindfulness, and are there to help the client. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time over here. Thank you.